Hello everyone, we will continue on the second part of the basic of filtering, which is signal and system. So this is a continue lah. Previously we have learned about the introduction, we have learned about the transfer function. Okay, so now how we can draw the frequency response. So we know that, okay, when we talk about the frequency response of the transfer function, we will have the equation. It's just that the Hs equal to output divided by the input. So now how we can display the transfer function in both amplitude and the phase plot. So now we are going to learn how to draw the plot based on the transfer function of the filter. Okay, when we want to draw the bot plot, you have to know the bot plot can consist of two separate plots. The first one is the variation of the magnitude of the transfer function, and the second one is the phase angle, in which, okay, when we talk about the magnitude, okay, so technically the magnitude is actually the gain, all right, and then this one is the frequency lah. Okay, the frequency. Later on we will take a look. And the phase angle, okay, so technically the y-axis is the angle, and this one is also the j omega, the omega lah. Okay. Okay, so later we can look that introduction to the plot. The two plot both have logarithm of frequency on x-axis. Okay, omega, omega the frequency. Meanwhile, the y-axis can be the magnitude of the transfer function, this one, or in dB. So the magnitude of the transfer function usually is the gain. Okay, meanwhile, for the phase angle, okay, we also have the phase angle in the degree. So technically, when we want to draw the plot, this one is your omega, and this one can be your gain, which is the unit is dB, the gain, and another one is for the phase angle. You can have this one is the phase angle, this one is theta, and this one is over omega. Okay, the frequency. Okay, so we know that when we want to draw, sometimes it depends on the question, sometimes it depends on the question whether it is given you the semi-log paper, or sometimes you just need to draw by yourself. Okay, sketch by yourself. So when we talk about the semi-log paper, okay, as you can see, this one is uneven column size. The x-axis is indicate, okay, but it has even a row size, the y-axis, and the unit for the x-axis is the omega. Okay, when you want to draw the bot plot, the unit for the x-axis is the omega. Meanwhile, for the y-axis in the dB for the magnitude lah. Okay, and then the break of the column x-axis per decade, meaning that every 10-fold. Okay, 0.1, 10, 0.1, 1, 10, 500, 100. Okay, if you begin with 0.5, it also can start with the 0.5, 5, 50, and 500. It depends lah, but as long as it is 10-fold. 10-fold. Okay. Okay, so now how we can draw the bot plot based on the transfer function. Okay, in order for you to draw the bot plot of the transfer function, you need to convert the given transfer function into the general equation of the transfer function. General equation, or the standard form of the transfer function. Okay, for example, okay, the first one, let's say this is your first atau your given transfer function. Okay, so we know that this one is the zeros, okay, and this part is the poles, okay, zeros and poles. Therefore, when you are given the transfer function, what you need to do is you need to transform your transfer function, your given transfer function, into the standard form. You need to transform. Okay. Okay, so okay, this one we call it as a the k constant, the constant k naught. Okay, so this one is your zeros and this one is your poles. Okay, so you need to convert the given transfer function, okay, into the standard form. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, so okay, the next one, when you have transfer your transfer function into the standard form, you need to replace the s with the j omega. Okay, so you can see here, you can replace with the j omega. Okay, let me put this one. J omega. Convert. This one J omega. This one J omega. This one also J omega. Okay, in other words, you have to replace every S into with the J omega. Okay, finally, okay, from here, we can have the J. The J is actually the 90-degree phase. Okay, alright. So, this one is a 0 at the poles lah. Later, we can learn about that. Okay, so now, find the magnitude and gain of the transfer function in dB. Okay, so for example, if you have this one, later you can multiply all of the angle, okay, all of the gain, and then you can transform into the dB. Okay, so it's okay. Alright, after this, we can have the example, but you can see that, okay, if your K naught, you have the K naught, you have the omega, M1, M2, M3, okay, you can add all together and first convert into the dB, and then after that, okay, you can sum up lah all the based on the equation. For example, this one, okay, just like the exponent, okay, if you have the multiply, so meaning that you will add, okay, if you have the division, so meaning that you minus, okay. Okay, same goes to the angle, the phase. Okay, let's do this. Okay, first thing first, when you are given the transfer function, what you need to do is, you need to transform the given transfer function into this form. Okay, in other words, okay, you have to make sure this one plus with the one, the Z1, this one, okay, P2, okay, become 1, and P1 become 1 as well. Okay, so it has to be, okay, you have to bring out lah, okay, you have to bring out, divide by S1, Z1, and then, okay, so for example, I give you the example, okay, mungkin tak dapat nak nampak sangat. Okay, let's say you have the KS, S plus Z1. Okay, so you have to be, it must be 1 like this. Okay, so macam mana? So divide by Z1, divide by Z1. When you divide by Z1, you have to multiply the Z1 here. Okay, therefore, you can see that the Z1 KS and then S plus Z1 zeros. Z1 is 10 for zeros plus with the 1. Okay, plus with the 1. The K you can bring outside, more outside. Lagi keluar lah. Okay, like this. Alright, so you can have this one. Okay, what about this one? Same goes to the previous one, meaning that P1 you have to make it become 1. So S plus P1, so meaning that if you divide by the P1, this one divide by the P1, you have to multiply the P1. You become P1 S over P1 plus 1. Okay, so dia akan jadi macam ni. This one, like this. Okay, so now, how to plot? If, let's say, okay, finally you can convert your equation become like this. Kan? Macam mana you nak tukar? How you can plot the log of the magnitude? Okay. When you want to plot the log of the magnitude, okay, we need to consider every single component, in which this one is your constant, okay, this one is your first transfer function, second transfer function, third transfer function, and fourth transfer function. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, now this is the standard form. The K naught become like K naught. Okay, this one become the numerator, which is the zeros, and the below one become the denominator, okay, which is the zeros. So what we can conclude here is every single point must equal to each transfer function, meaning that this one as one transfer function, this one become one transfer function, this one become one transfer function, and this one become one transfer function. So in total, you have 4 transfer function. What about this one? This one, you need to draw, but you will consider this become the K naught, like this. Okay? Okay. So let's take a look, the K naught. If you have the K naught, okay, so in order to draw, you have to convert into the dB, 20 log 10. Okay, the dB. Alright, so what about this one? This one, if it is single, okay, if it is single, so meaning that it is zeros at the origin. Kenapa zeros? Because the upper one is the zeros, okay, the lower one is the poles. Poles, nama dia is the poles. Okay, so therefore, if you have only one S for your first transfer function, meaning that it is zeros at the origin, okay, meaning that your omega become 1. Okay, so let's take a look the second transfer function. The second transfer function, you have S over Z1 plus 1, meaning that your zeros at 1. Okay, alright, sorry. Your zeros at Z1, sorry, di here. Okay, and then your poles at the P1. Dia punya ni. Alright, after this I will explain. Okay, this one, the poles at the P2 lah. Okay. Alright, so the terms of the how to draw the K0. The constant terms such as the K0 contribute a straight horizontal line of the magnitude 20 log 10 K0. Okay, remember, okay, when you want to draw the magnitude of the K0, the equation is 20 log 10 K0. Okay, so nanti kita tengoklah berapa. Alright, so the amplitude of the dB 20 log 10 and then the phase angle is 0. So, technically, when you want to draw the phase angle of the K0, okay, remember the phase angle of your K0 is 0. And then what about the this one is the magnitude, This one is the magnitude, this one is the phase. Okay, alright. Okay, so the magnitude, this one omega, this one also omega. So, in order for you to draw the dot plot, you have to draw both. The magnitude plot and also the phase plot. Okay, to plot the K0, you have to put 20 log 10 your K, the value of the K. Okay, so how to draw? It must be straight line. Okay, what about the straight line? This one, okay, at your dB lah. Okay, what about the phase angle? The phase angle of your K must be 0. That's all. Okay, so zeros at the origin. Apa maksud zeros at the origin? Bermaksud sekiranya if you have just stand alone your S here. Okay, this one, if your S, okay, S is equal to J omega, right? Okay, so if your S is just stand alone like this. Okay, so what you have to do is zeros at the origin. Okay, what does it mean with the zeros of the origin? Okay, the zero at the origin occur when there is a S or J omega multiplying with the numerator. Okay, each occurrence of this causes a positive slope line passing through omega 1 with rise of the 20 decibel. Meaning that dekat kosong ni, dia akan go through dekat 1. Okay, after 1 dia akan jadi 10, right? Because of the 10 volt, so dia akan naik 20, so dia akan naik 40 macam tu lah. Okay, dekat 1, so dekat 100 dia akan naik 20 lagi, which is 40. Okay, bawah ni dia akan naik 0.001 macam tu. Bermaksud bila kita nak lukis zeros at the origin, dia mestilah akan melalui, slope tu akan melalui 1, omega equal to 1 at the 0, 1. Macam tu. Okay, alright. So what about the phase? This one is the magnitude ataupun dB, magnitude, and this one is the angle. Angle dia macam mana? Angle must be positive 90 degree. Okay, tetapi sekiranya kalau anda kata S tu dekat bawah, ini bermaksud K0, okay, and then you ada S plus Z1, contoh okay, sorry, this one like this. Okay, alright, contoh you ada S, okay, S over Z1 plus 1 over S over P1 tambah 1, okay, S over P2 tambah 1. Okay, so if you have S, this one is the 0, 0 ke atas. Okay, so dia akan ada positive slope and then dia must be, okay, across your 1. Omega equal to 1. And then dia punya angle must be 90 degree. Tetapi if your S at the bottom, Okay, S akan jadi S over P1 plus 1. And then you punya S over Z1 plus 1. Contoh macam tu. This one is your K naught. Okay, this one is your answer, your transfer function. So now, what happen if your S berada dekat bawah pula? Okay, this one dekat bawah. Kalau dia berada dekat bawah, bermaksud you punya slope, dia akan bertentangan. Okay, dia akan negative slope. Negative slope. Tapi dia masih lagi melalui 1 at the omega. Okay, dia slope dia macam ni, terbalik. Okay, kalau anda kata S tu dekat atas, okay, slope dia akan positive slope. Okay, sama juga dengan you punya angle. You punya angle, kalau dia dekat atas, dia akan macam ni and then dekat atas. Tapi kalau angle dekat bawah, kalau S tu dekat bawah, dia akan terbalik, negatively slope, and then dia akan berada di negative 90 degree. Dia macam tu. Okay, so now, dia selesai pada yang ada S stand alone. When the S stand alone, hanya satu je S. Tetapi, apa akan berlaku sekiranya kalau anda kata dia ada dekat bawah ni? Maksudnya, you ada S over Z1 plus dengan 1. Apa yang akan berlaku adalah, okay, you kena make sure what is your Z1. What is your Z1? Sekarang ni kita kena tengok. And then, you punya angle akan berada, nanti kita akan tengok, okay, Z1 tu macam mana kita nak lukis. And P1, P2 ni macam mana nak lukis. So, kita kena bahagikan, kita kena bezakan your zeros and also the poles when it is not at the origin. Okay. Okay. Alright, so sekarang ni, this one is what I mentioned just now. If the zero at the origin, tetapi dia berada di atas. Okay, dia punya pembahagi ni, and then tiba-tiba dia ada dekat atas. Apa yang akan berlaku adalah, you punya face akan berada di atas 90 degree. Okay, so remember lah, this one is your angle, this one is your omega. Alright, so macam mana kita, ini adalah face angle. Face angle kan degree, tapi kalau macam mana kita magnitude yang saya explain sebentar tadi, okay, in which you ada omega and you ada dB kat sini, and then this one is 1. Okay, sekarang ni dia berada dekat atas. Kalau dia berada dekat atas, bermaksud kat sini 1, kat sini berapa? 10, kat sini 100. Okay, 1 ni mesti dia ni. So, apa lagi yang kita kena tahu? Okay, kita kena tahu yang mana. Okay, kat 10 ni ke atas. Dia every 20 decibel. So, this 20 per decade lah. 20 decibel per decade. Okay, maksudnya 20 decibel naik setiap 10 angle dan setiap 10 omega ni. Okay, jadi apa yang akan berlaku? Dia mesti melalui dekat 1 ni bila dekat kosong ni. Nampak tak Okay, dia akan, bila S ni dekat atas, okay, dia akan melalui macam ni. Okay, so this one become 0.1 lah. Okay, alright. Okay, so 100 ada dekat mana? 100 berada pada 40 decibel. Dia macam tu. Okay, meanwhile, kalau dia dekat bawah, berada dekat bawah, so macam mana kita nak lukis angle dia? Angle dia must be kat bawah lah. Dia ingat je, S tu dekat mana? S dekat atas ke kat bawah? Kalau S dekat atas, bermaksud dia punya degree adalah 90 degree. Tapi kalau anda kata S tu dekat bawah, so dia akan berada negative 90 degree. Itu sahaja kalau kita nak lukis angle. Okay, kalau berdasarkan S sahajalah, S stand alone. Okay, kalau magnitude pula macam mana? Kalau magnitude, kita kena ingat, kalau S berada dekat atas, dia akan positive slope. Positive slope. Okay, dia akan melalui omega equal to 1. Okay, this one is your dB. Okay, and then, apa yang akan berlaku? Apa yang akan berlaku dekat ni? Dekat 10 dengan 100, apa yang akan berlaku? Dia akan naik setiap 20 decibel. So, this one is 20. This one is your 40. Okay, so this one supposedly is your negative 20. Okay, macam tu lah. Okay, seandainya kalau anda kata S ni dekat bawah. S dekat bawah macam mana? You akan buat macam tadi. Dia inversely, dia terbalik. Dia bertentangan. Okay, itu sahaja. Okay, so sekarang ni macam mana kita nak pastikan, nak draw yang kalau kita punya ni, the zeros not at the origin. Zeros tu apa? Zeros yang dia dekat atas. Dia dekat atas, maksud dia contoh S, Z, 1 plus 1 over S over P1 plus 1 and S plus P1 plus 1. Okay, P2, sorry. P2, poles tu. Okay, so bermaksud awak kena tengok yang bahagian atas ni. Okay, at the upper side, the top side. Okay, the numerator. Okay, kalau nak tengok dia numerator, apa yang akan berlaku? Dia kata, no phase shift for the frequency much lower than the Z input. A 45 degree shift at the Z input. Okay, bermaksud, okay, you kena pastikan dekat tengah-tengah adalah you punya Z input. Z1. Dekat tengah-tengah. Dan selepas daripada tu adalah 45 degree. Okay. Dan sebelum daripada tu adalah 45 degree. Ingat, bila kita nak lukis, dia every 10 fold. Setiap 10. Bermaksud dia kena ada you punya Z1, 10 Z1 dan juga 0.1 Z1. So, bermaksud you punya Z1 ni mesti berada pada 45 degree. Mesti berada pada 45 degree. So, ni adalah you punya 45 dan atas dia pula the next one must be 90 lah. Kan betul tak? Beza dia. So, 90. Okay, so Z1 berada pada 45 and then sebelum Z1 adalah 0.1 Z, so adalah 45 juga. Okay, so this is how you draw. And then after this, okay, you just need to draw the constant, to draw the straight line. Okay, the constant. Alright. So, a 90 degree shift for frequency much higher. Kalau sebelum 45, selepas pun 45. Okay, jadi dia akan jadi 90 degree. Okay. Seandainya, kalau kita berada dekat post pula. Post tu kat mana? Dekat bawah. Okay, so sekarang ni you ada SP1 plus 1. Okay, S over P2 plus 1. Tadi, kalau you berada pada atas, S over Z1 plus 1. Okay, you kena tengok you punya Z1. Okay, Z1 tadi. Sekarang ni you kena tengok for P1. Okay, yang membezakan antara poles dengan zeros adalah dia punya sama ada negative slope ataupun positive slope. Kalau dia berada dekat atas, dia must be positive slope. Okay, bermaksud dia macam ni. Okay, dia macam ni lah. Okay, tapi kalau dia kata dia negatively slope, kalau dekat bawah, dia mestilah terbalik. Okay, tetapi again lah, you punya P1 tu must dekat negative 45 degree. Okay, after 45 degree is 0. So, before is 0 and after is 90 degree. Like that. Okay, tapi tak apa. Mungkin lepas ni tak faham. Tapi tak apa. Lepas ni saya tunjukkan. Okay. So, contohnya, kalau dia kata, you have the real zeros. Okay. Alright, kejap saya tengok. Okay, ini adalah angle angle. Okay, so sekarang ni macam mana pula kita nak buat dia punya gain. Okay, so macam yang saya cakap tadi, okay, untuk kita buat plot, kita ada dua. The first one kita ada gain, the second one kita ada angle. The first one, bila kita nak, contoh like kita nak lukis dia punya magnitude, the gain dia. Okay, apa yang perlu kita buat adalah, okay, adalah apa? Adalah kita kena tengok berapa dia punya, kalau kita nak draw the magnitude tengok Z1 awak berapa. Kalau Z1 awak berapa, okay, dia akan patah 45 degree. Okay, dia akan macam tu lah. Okay, 20 decibel per decade. So, maksudnya kalau awak ada 10 Z1, so dia akan jadi berapa ni? Dia akan jadi this one 0, this one must be 20. Okay, selepas tu you can ada 40. Okay, 100 Z1 dan seterusnya. Okay, so maksudnya 45 degree tu dia akan naik dekat Z1. Alright, so bukan, 20 decibel per decade tu dia akan naik dekat Z1. Tetapi kalau kita melibatkan angle, macam yang saya kata, you punya Z1 tu must be at the center, which is the 45 decade per decade. Okay, so you have 0.1 and then you have to draw another 45 degree of after the 10 fold. 10 decade kan, per decade. Tetapi kalau dia kata awak ada dekat di bawah, the poles, apa yang awak kena buat adalah awak kena draw Okay, dekat P1 je dia akan decade is negative 20 decibel per decade. Bermaksud kalau awak ada 10 P1, dia akan jadi negative 20. Kalau awak ada 100 P1, dia akan jadi apa? Akan jadi negative 40 decibel. Betul, 20, negative 20. Okay, that is how you can draw the magnitude and pulse at the not at the origin. Okay, so now what happen if you have the multiple? If you have the multiple, what happen? Okay, after this I will show you the example. Okay, in the part number 3.